What's going on, everybody? This is Ian Robinson, and welcome back to another Getting Started series. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the brand new 2026.2 ZBrush to Substance Painter bridge. Let's get into it. The Substance Painter bridge lives under the texture menu. So if we were to go ahead and dock this on the right-hand side, and we were to scrub on down to the bottom, we'd actually see a brand new menu called the Substance Bridge. If we go ahead and open up the Substance Bridge, you'll see here that you're greeted with a giant button that says Send to Painter. But before we do that, let's go ahead and cover what the menu offers. The first part of the menu is Subtools, where it says All, Visible, or Active. This is just to pick how you want to send your subtools over. If you want everything, those that are visible or those that are not, select all. If you want only what's visible, meaning only what is visible here with the eyeballs, and then what is active. Next, you'll have a polypaint button. This is if your model actually has polypaint and you would like to send that over. Next, we have smooth normals. This is to make sure that everything looks nice and rounded and looks really beautiful. Of course, if you do want to have some sharp edges, you would turn this off. Next is auto bake. It'll start baking inside of Substance Painter once the model's been sent over. Next, we have force auto wrap. If your model doesn't have UVs or a portion of your model doesn't pertain UVs and you have this turned on, once it sends the Substance Painter, it will go ahead and start unwrapping the parts that do not have UVs. Next on the list, we have subdivision level, and we also have texture sets. Now for subdivision level, the first thing you'll notice is you have two buttons. You have current and then a low to high. The low to high button is turned on by default. This is because if your model has subdivisions like mine currently does, if we come down to geometry and we look at our subdivision levels, I currently have 4. And so my subdivision level 1 would actually be the low poly, and then subdivision level 4 would then be the high polys. All ZBrush will do is go to geometry, it will take a look at subdivision level 1, send that as a low poly to Painter, go ahead and kick the model up to subdivision level 4 or your highest subdivision, and send that in the background to Painter to do all the baking. And of course, last but not least is texture sets. This is how ZBrush is going to tell Painter how to break up your model to be viewed as a texture set within Painter. So you can see here I have per subtool as defaulted selected. So this means that if I go to subtool, my walkie-talkie would be one texture set, my virus would be another texture set, and then the vial would be a third texture set, giving me 3 texture sets in total. However, let's say we wanted to have a model that's a little bit more complex or has multiple polygroups like this. So if I were to come on down to my polygroups and hit auto groups, now my walkie-talkie has multiple polygroups. You can utilize this and have these set up as texture sets, helping you break your model apart a little bit easier. It will look at each and every one of these polygroups and create its own texture set based on that polygroup. So let's go ahead and put all this into practice. I'm going to go ahead and select all subtools because I only have 3. I do not have any polypaint, so we'll leave that blank for now. And then I have smooth normals turned on by default as well as auto bake. And if I go down to my subdivision level, we're going to keep it at low to high because I do have subdivisions, and I'm going to leave it at per subtool for my texture set. Now that we're all set up, I'm just going to go ahead and say send to Painter. Now we're going to give that just a second to communicate with Painter. And from here, Painter is going to go ahead and communicate with ZBrush and grab the model from you. And as you can see now, we started baking automatically. Now that it's done baking, we can go ahead and turn off the eye just to kind of see what's going on. All right, it's looking pretty good. Let's go ahead and take a look at what's going on with Substance Painter on the left-hand side in the menu. Now, we went ahead and worked closely with Adobe and set up a default template that we thought would work well for everybody. But of course, you can come through and change everything as you would like. What we'll notice is that my subtools sent over as texture sets, and they are appropriately named vials, virus, and walkie-talkie. We are seeing that it is identifying a ZBrush project underscore high via FBX. And it is also telling you exactly where that is. So in my case, it's on my D drive with, of course, Ian underscore ZBrush underscore settings, Substance Painter, ZBrush project underscore high. This way you can go ahead and find it as you would like. The baking cage is set to automatic experimental, but you can change that to distance space if that is something you're more used to, or you can set it to a custom file, however you would like. I'm just going to leave it here because I think it did a good job. And you'll notice that under match, it's set by mesh name. And we have our underscore low, underscore high, and then we have a normal, a world space normal, an ambient occlusion, a curvature, a position, and a thickness. You can always turn these back on. So let's say you do want an ID map, and then maybe you would like opacity at some point. So all you would need to do is pick all that stuff and rebake your selections. And once that's done, we can go ahead and return to paint mode, and we are ready to start texturing. Before we start texturing, if you notice that there was something you would like to change, you can always go back to ZBrush and then make that change. So maybe in this case, I would like to rotate my walkie just a little bit over this way. Not a problem. I would just go ahead and come in here, go back under texture, and say send to painter. So once all your texturing is done, of course, we'd like to see it in a render format. So let's go ahead and just do a quick IRay test. And you can see I'm going to zoom in here real fast, and I'm going to position that just so I know it looks good. Press and hold Control and middle mouse button somewhere on an object that looks good. And of course, you can turn on a bunch of really cool stuff in here, your post effects. We can get a depth of field if we would like. Really just a fun way to go ahead and make things pop and look super cool. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Go ahead and comment in the comment section down below any questions you might have. And as always, we'll catch you in the next one.